defend themselves. Now we're experiencing in the real world devastation, like things like war and famine is coming and, real difficult things. But people, societies have the ability to come together, and there is the potential to elevate ourselves past anything we perceive possible. And I like to continually tell myself at this time that we are walking by faith, not by sight, and believing this is possible. We have this beautiful thing called a mini grand trine in the sky where the planet Uranus, and this comes back into focus next Saturday, is in an air sign. And the air signs are humane. They're about how we connect and communicate. And it's making this beautiful trine, easy flowing energy with Pluto and Aquarius. So there are these breakthroughs and awakenings that people are having. And with the Saturn and Neptune in Aries, it's also making this ease and flow aspect of opportunity to the planets in humane signs, where spiritually and heroes will rise. This is a time where fortune favors the bold and courage is what is needed as we move forward to places where no man or woman has gone before.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if you look at that chart up there, you can see I'll try to point to the planets that they're speaking about, so the glyphs, okay? But if you look on the side here, you can also see that here's the sun, it names it, okay? And it tells you where it is in the um in the whole chart. So you have the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Chiron, North Node, and then the ascendant and midheaven, basically. And this house system is Heidi's whole sign house system. And I think it just makes it easier for people to understand when a planet is in a particular sign, that whole sign, that whole area is being affected. So thank you, Celeste. Thank you. Um, Gemini, David.
Yeah, I would say that we are going to where we literally have never gone before. And that sounds kind of crazy being an astrologer because it's so many patterns that we always see. But when you actually think about the Saturn Neptune conjunction that just happened, that was back in 4361 BC, the last time in zero Aries. So we've been here before, but what was going on back then? Prehistoric history is pretty empty. Then you have all the outer planets coming into their most harmonic connections that we've ever. I mean, go try and look back and find it. You're not going to find much astrology that even comes close to what we're coming into this summer. And then mixed on top of that, Chiron coming into Taurus, where the sign where it was found in 1977. And Chiron really, I think, changed the game of astrology with asteroids, of course, but it's not just an asteroid. It's an asteroid that thinks it's a planet, but it's not. And so to me, this also brings up discoveries. Like this is going to be a time where we've never been here before, and the evolution of humanity is what it's really focused on. And I feel that these are such new beginnings, and the way that all this Aries that you're seeing, having Neptune out of Pisces now, we're going to see the nodes shift this year from into Aquarius and Leo, but with Pluto in Aquarius. So this is all setting us up for, we don't really know. I always think of Darwinian evolution and just like seeing I don't believe fully in it, but what's after Homo sapien? We're moving into that right now. And that's what feels so weird. But also it's these discoveries far beyond our mind can comprehend. And that's what's going to, I think, be the big page turner, is that this is the year that begins that what we've been living in and the illusion being shattered. Like this illusion that we've been living in, that it was always going to maintain and look this way and stay this way, is over. And I think we're seeing that right now. With what you see, it's like, oh, 6 weeks and there's no more fuel for jets in Europe. Somebody did say that for a long time. Nobody believed me. But, and I'm serious, I said this year would be the year of travel being over. By gas, then it'd be done. But you can't be afraid, because this is where the discoveries are going to be so great, because the illusion breaks and we find better ways. The main thing is that we have to get out of the prison we all, as a humanity, created ourselves, that we allowed. And I think that's where the bold, as you were saying, that you have to be bold now. You have to find your voice, and curiosity is going to be your best friend. Be more curious. We all love rabbit holes here. Well, get in them, but then get out and find some other ones too. Don't get stuck in one rabbit hole. Right?
Connected.
Because they're all connected, correct. There's like a tunnel that connects all of them. But we don't need to go into tunnels right now. But like, that's what's so cool about this. And honestly, like the show with the South Node coming into Leo, and you're talking to Mr. Leo here. That's not cool anymore. It's not cool to put on a show. Being human and expressing your humanity, and we all have, Uranus and Taurus is finishing up next week. We all have different values. That's clear now. That doesn't mean we still can't love and appreciate one another with different values. We've seen that with political rift. We've seen that with ideologies. We've seen that with religion. And I've talked a lot about the religious stuff. Let the religious war people go to war. You can't convince them. They're going to have to go through that themselves. We have to just be on the sidelines and focus on humanity and have fun, be curious. But we are going to a place where the idea of what time is going to change. I think Saturn just went through so much over the last 6 years that it's like even questioning if it is keeping its own chronological time correct. So,
Perfect time.
yep.
So, talking about Saturn. Saturn has a 29-year cycle, right? So every 29 years, how many of you have heard of your Saturn return? Right, okay, so it's a pretty big one, and then around 60 years, the second one, and if you make it to 90 years so, you get another one. So they're major chunks of life, and you really can kind of get them. Now, Dave had to mention that Uranus up here, look at it's Uranus, that's simple for Uranus, 29 degrees, 37 minutes Taurus. Well, there's 30 degrees in a sign. So Uranus is getting ready to shift next week, April 25th, 26th, into Gemini. So where's Gemini in your chart? How is that going to affect your life? We had a moment last year where it put its toe into Gemini. So you can sort of like got a beginning feeling of that. And then it went back into Taurus to finish up loose ends that still needed to be worked with. But now it's going into Gemini for the next 7 years. So there we go.
And that means Uranus is aligned with the Pleiades right now. How many of y'all are Pleiadians? Yeah, this is my Pleiades crystal. Ours is a study of wheels within wheels, of cycles within cycles. And I want to speak about Uranus, who is revolution, and about Pluto, who is evolution. But I'm going to bring you outside with me. You don't have to leave your seats, but maybe if you would, just close your eyes and open that inner eye and go into your vision space. And we're going to travel a bit west of here. We're going to make our way to the coast where the land and the oceans kiss, that great place of tides and transformation. And we're going to fast forward the clock just a little bit. We're going to let the sun reach its height and then come down to set into the Pacific Ocean in the west. And there we're going to see the beautiful and bright and beaming Venus at home, embraced by a young moon, the maiden moon, the sliver crescent, with that thin smile celebrating her survival of the monthly fire trial. Because every month the moon goes into the beams of the sun to be renewed. That was yesterday. And fortunately for us, she always comes back. So tonight, maybe you'll go and see this beautiful connection of these great guidesses of Moon and Venus. And maybe you can go and check in again tomorrow. And the next day, what are you going to see? You're going to see the moon separating from the sun. You're going to see her smile growing from that thin little crescent. And eventually she'll reach the full O of the full moon in a couple of weeks. But between now and then, we're going to see that half moon, that waxing half moon, that strange straight line in the face of such a curvy being, the moon. And that image is the image of a break away, a moving from the regular world into the special world, or that time when the seed that was planted beneath the ground is now sprouting and breaking through the soil. And sprouting ain't easy, right? It's going to be exposed to the rains and the winds, but the winds bend the stem to help the plant grow strong. Well, a new moon, when the moon meets the sun, that's like a seed moment. And this happens with all of the planets. And there's a long cycle. On average, it's 150 years between these planets of revolution, Uranus, and evolution, Pluto. So when they get together, significant things happen on Earth. They came together 3 times in 1965. Some of you were there for it. Many of you deserve our gratitude for choosing to be open to the opportunity of the energy, to resist the powers that shouldn't be, to open up to the power of the flower, to answer the call to return to the ancient ways, to allow yourself to see that we live together on one world, that all earthlings are one, to devote your life to that truth of being, to be that seed. And that seed has since sprouted. This is when Uranus squared Pluto, that same shape of that waxing half moon, that breaking away from the old world, a seed busting through the ground to grow into what it can become. And that sprouting time was 2012. And so we hear alarm bells ringing because we know that was real. They said you'd wake up the next day and it would all be the same, but I didn't. And I bet you many people in this room are like me, because if we brought ourselves to that opportunity brought itself to us. And it was a sprouting time. It was harsh. And we've been in that space, no doubt. Turn on the news. Actually, don't ever do that. That's not news at all. But we see the world and we see strife and we see pain and we see war and we see challenge. And it's an opportunity, a reminder for us to continue blossoming, to be that seed that's sprouting now. Well, after that moon squares the sun and we see that strange straight line in the face of such a curvy being, well, she gets her groove back. She gets her bubble back. She gets her curve back. And there's a time when the moon trines the sun and we really see this beautiful waxing gibbous shape. Well, Uranus and Pluto will finally find their way to that shape this year. And there's so many strong alignments, and some of them certainly speak of challenges and difficulties, but we know there's a reason for the seasons. And I could say that's because the Earth's spin is tilted and all that, but I mean because we are here to grow. And we grow through knowing, and we know through healing, and we heal through feeling. Well, the feeling piece is actually optional. So we have to stay devoted, to stay in our heart. And this is what that seed was in the 60s, returning to the truth of earth, of the old ways, of oneness. And let's let that seed now, which has sprouted, come back into a release from that tension, so we can hear more of that harmony that David was speaking about, this harmony between these outer planets, which themselves have a very harmonious relationship with one another. And though they are planets of change, and change isn't easy, it is something that we can embrace because that's the opportunity that this world offers, this place that offers the appearance of time and space. And without that, we couldn't grow.
Thank you. Well, wonderful to get a sense of the whole experience. We tend to say it's out there, it's on a paper, but it really is part of our whole life in so many different ways. So that's why we like to share our passion about astrology. It's it's such a big thing. It looks like a kite. Oh, there you go. And there, well, and that's added. It looks like a kite they have.
July. Mhm.
So this is definitely a chart. Actually, I know several people in the audience whose birthdays are yesterday, today, and tomorrow, right?
Yep.
So all this Leo energy, all this Aries energy is definitely here. And I'm glad you're here because to help really explain it. And Eric, what do you see as the most important thing happening right now?
You want to know?
Yes. I've been waiting for you.
Okay. So I love Gemini Brad talking about being outside, connecting with the sky and the earth. To to understand is to literally stand under the sky or stand under the stars.
Yes.
That's sort of the origin of where that really comes from. And you get the wisdom and the knowledge from that relationship between the earth and the sky. And in that area, no matter, you don't necessarily have to look at all the software and the charts and everything to develop that relationship yourself. And it can start certainly with the moon and other bodies out there. We are in a confluence of many, many patterns coming together that echo various periods in recent centuries even. But to actually reconnect, the reawakening, I do feel like the Saturn Neptune moment at 0 Aries, the beginning of the traditional tropical zodiac, is a moment for humanity to connect and seed what we want to see. Like it's not we have to do this or we have to do that. We can choose what we want to manifest here. We have the free will to choose all of that. And not necessarily, dictated by, oh, this has to be this way or that has to be that way. But it's a moment where I do feel in that confluence, like the manifestation of spirit into matter, where we can come together. And then what has brought people together has also been under the stars as well. That it's not just getting lost in the news cycles and what drama is going on in the Middle East or elsewhere, but actually connecting within ourselves and developing that relationship with the world around us in a deeper way. And so that Saturn Neptune conjunction, that every 35 years, each of you have talked about that. And the last time this happened was 1989. And that was the time when the Berlin Wall fell. It was the early period of the Soviet Union starting to be dissolved. And so there was a moment there, it happened in the sign of Capricorn, but there was a moment where there was a potential new world that could have started that moment. Now, it wasn't at 0 Aries, but there was something there, something that potentially could have started an entirely new era of humanity. And it kind of did, but it went in totally other kinds of directions due to a lot of people with power and greed and the domination and the craving of all of that. But that's not where the true gold is. The gold is within us all. That true treasure that lies within. And if we go out into the sky, if we go out into the stars, we can realize that. We can connect with that magic. It all lies within us. We all have the power for that. Uranus moving into Gemini coming up here next week. There's another pattern that's a confluence that's coming back again. And yeah, there's been the last few times that it's done that, it's been pretty tragic in US history and in global history as well. But we could choose a different path. It doesn't need to be back to war under whatever false pretenses we want to throw out there. So it's more about this moment, and I think of what was her name? Was she wrote the Chalice and the Blade? And what was that?
Renee, I was-
Yes, Renee Eisler. So she talked about the signs that were coming up of a return of a partnership based community, global community, where there was one on Earth many thousands of years ago before the what she called the dominator patriarchal dominator society, and even before the matriarchal. That there was this more of this partnership based. And there's signs that little pockets here and there around the world that may be coming to that place. And it's possible that there's a potential there. And that's part of what seeds are, is that it's not going to determine exactly what one might think, but it shows the potential of something that we can actually connect with in our own. So we all have that will, that strength of being to come into that space on our own if we want. But it's better to do it with others. It's better to do it with community, because we get lost in all the propaganda, and it can just divide us even more.
Mm.
And that's just it. That's how it's an age-old strategy of cultures or nations and people that are in higher powers, if you will, that have conquered and divided um, people in order to rule them. That's just this strategy that has been effective for many, many thousands of years. So the Saturn Neptune conjunction is allowing us to come into a different space. And I do feel like there are signs out there of us evolving. And just like what David was talking about, what is beyond Homo sapiens, what is beyond that? And I feel like we're on the precipice of something else. And it could take decades or centuries to get there or more. But we live in really, really rare times, and it takes a lot of courage to be here right now. Um, and give yourself some kudos for being able to stand in this energy, because it's pretty intense. But how do we want to work with that energy? How do we want to come together and work with it in our own hearts and with others? It's up to us. We have this massive alignment in Aries right now, and it's pretty intense. But Saturn can sometimes be a container for all of that energy. And then once Mars leaves that conjunction, which happens on the 19th, it's tomorrow, how do we want to work with instinct? How do we want to work with our mission and purpose in this life? That's up to us again. So we get to choose what that's like. And so there's many different things that are the biggest thing that's happening now,
Oh, yes.
but they're all kind of confluencing together, and we're continuing to move even into rare and rarer times. And it's both exciting and a little frightening, but that's what keeps us alive. And we get to be in that energy. So anyway, thank you for that question.
Thank you. That's like never been signed up for. Very much. I feel like each one of us gave a choice to come in at this time. But we are being chosen because we are teachers. And and just to kind of like ride the wave. It really is an amazing time to be alive. And I know astrology has so much going on. It's like that inside the clock, the bone wheels, so many things turning. So back in February 20th, how many of you heard about the Saturn uh, Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries? Okay, so not everyone. Okay, so think of 360 degrees of the circle. And that's all the zodiac, 360 degrees. So 0 degrees Aries is that very first moment, that moment of pure potential. And so we are still in this moment of pure potential, what we want to create. So what we think, what we feel, how we act is important. It may not seem like it is sometimes, but we are the ones who are making a difference. We're co-creating this whole thing. Right now, you can see all those planets up at the top in Aries. What is Aries? I am sovereignty, right? It's about that creative moment, the first moment of spring. And that's happening in our lives. Each one of our lives is about more. And if you know your chart, you can kind of like find out. Eric is doing readings here all weekend, so you can find out from him. And you can go online, get your chart, and just start exploring. So 36 years, you know, we said we also heard the cycle of 36 years. Well, Saturn and Neptune come together every 36 years, but not at zero Aries. David's the one that I first learned that it happened 6,400 years ago. Right? Oh my God. So we are in important times. How many of us have seen all these planets in Aries before? We haven't. Astrologers haven't seen this before. These are, I hate to use this word, unprecedented times. It's got like, how many unprecedented things have we had in the last years? But really, oh my God, it doesn't happen on a dime like that. It takes a while. So let's take a look at what do you see as collapsing right now? And what do you see as collapsing at this time of shift, of change? And what do you see the possibility of emerging?
So one of the things that's collapsing, and we're witnessing this happen, is so you talked about, and we've all talked about how Saturn and Neptune met at zero Aries, the first degree of the first sign of the zodiac. And every year the sun passes through 0 degrees of Aries, and astrologers cast a chart called the Aries ingress, which speaks to what's coming up next. And for everywhere around the world, Mercury, the planet of communication, transportation, and commerce, was stationing, which means if you're familiar with retrograde cycles, there it's an optical illusion where planets appear to go backwards and stop and go forwards again. Well, Mercury was stationing, so basically stopped in the sky, conjunct the North Node, which is an amplifier and it's karmic and in the sign of Pisces, which rules oil. As well as water. And what I saw when I looked at that was full stop. So there is a stoppage energy, which leads to collapse of trade routes and supply chains we're experiencing with the South Node in Virgo. So things that we thought we could depend on, which we don't even really think about. These are the Virgo energies. We just, when they're humming along, life just goes smoothly. But when they collapse, it's a bit of a crisis. So we're going to be having to innovation is going to be what's coming into how do we get by? How do we move forward without things we thought we could rely on before? So that's one of the big things about collapsing, as well as with AI, there are all of these jobs that are going to be transforming or no longer needed or done by computers and things like that. So there is a big change in employment coming as well. So it gives us the opportunity for innovative thoughts, just connecting in with your what is your higher consciousness telling you how to move forward and what to do and how you're going to be in community is the biggest thing that I think we need to be working on. The world is going to get a lot smaller over time, and local communities are going to be more and more and more important.
Hmm.
And if anybody has anybody ever been on a psychedelic before? So you know how the program collapses. That's what's happening. Is the main collapse is the program that people think. I love Albert Hoffman because as Uranus was doing the same thing it's doing now, leaving Taurus, coming into Gemini, he gets on his bicycle and he tries his own LSD that he cooked up in his lab. And he does the famous bike ride in the middle of World War II in Germany. And that's what leads the whole revolution of the 60s and the Pluto Uranus conjunction is LSD. So with all these outer planets coming into these great trine sextiles, and Jupiter's gonna, I wish it was Saturn like we had last year, but I'm not a Jupiter fan, if you all already know. Promises everything, delivers nothing. So, that's who he is. I'm a Mercury man. But I was gonna say that the main thing that's collapsing is that these things that we're all going through, everybody's attached to this program and these ideas. It's a very idea based and very central kind of programmed that us as a collective have been fooled into, that we all have to break. And unfortunately, like when I did LSD and I went outside and I watched the sunrise, I finally understood my 12th house sun. It was just like, ugh. So he was talking about sunset. I'm talking about sunrise. Like, oh my God, it was the most beautiful time of my life. But it's like one of those things where like the program that people are conditioned in, and that Celeste was just talking about jobs, Saturn, Neptune. Like it's all these systems are failing, but you gotta not be afraid because it's to bring us together to define new ones. When the printing press came out, even the people were afraid of it because they were told by the churches, no, only the priest can read in Latin and only us are going to print a Latin Bible. You can't have a Bible at your house. So when everybody's tripping on AI or new technology, that's what's so funny is all the boomers that were there young or older that were there for the 65 conjunction, they never would have dreamed the revolution would come in a trine with Pluto and Aquarius, that Uranus is trining to it from Gemini, which is computers and technology and all right. So what? You mean the hippie movement's gonna be the tech bros? Masculine side? It's the other thing, we're moving into all masculine energy. The feminine movement was the last 20 years. It's over.
So explaining that.
So we had Pluto and Capricorn for 16 years. What do you mean? It's just balance. The scales went that way. Now it's balancing it back out to bring some masculine energy in. It's not a negative thing, please. Jeez. Wrong room. Wrong room. But I mean, just Pluto. Okay, so Pluto, Capricorn, Neptune, and Pisces. That right there, it's covering about 15 of the years. Uranus in Pisces at the beginning of the 2000s. Okay. It's been all Uranus and Taurus, Earth the last 7 years. It's just been overlapping more feminine, Earth and water. Now we're in fire and air, fire and air, fire and air, fire and air. That's masculine energy. All this in Aries rules men, Mars. Okay. Look at the Utah girl that just got, with her husband, right? And did all that crazy crap and she lost a bachelorette. As a man, if we get caught talking a different way, we're automatically assumed as being an abuser. So the Me Too movement helped a lot for women. Where's the Men Too movement? All I'm saying is that that's what's happening. It's a balancing moment. That's it.
So I'm sliding in. That's good thing. It's all beginning and the end, right? It's all balanced. And if you look, once Uranus over here at 29 degrees Taurus, which is Earth, which is feminine, once Uranus goes into Gemini, we're gonna have all the planets are gonna be in air and fire. There's no earth, there's no water. So that's basically what he's saying. So it's just the way it is. So things are gonna get fast. Can you believe things are gonna get faster?
Shima, I can help with this.
All right.
Thank you.
Y'all just experienced Aries Mercury applying to Mars. Then it said, wake up and stuff like that. But, alarm clocks can be so harsh. We're going to do this in another way because Mercury also just visited Neptune. So we're going to hear this in harmony. It's difficult to talk about polarity without being polarizing. I mean, even if I say up and down, where are you at with that? Right? I mean, I prefer the terms diurnal, day-like, and nocturnal and night-like, because it's a little less triggering for people when I teach astrology. But when I teach about polarity, I really like to get into that polarization stuff. And I always play Pink Floyd's Us and Them. And, so these days it's harder to describe these signs as masculine and feminine. I think there's been like wonderful challenges to that. What we used to say is positive and negative signs. And, I never even really considered that because it just feels like good and bad or something like that. But in classes, I love to really go there because, again, teaching polarity, you should bring people into polarization so you can really feel that kind of importance of the incarnated world, which has the in and the out and the up and the down and all the things that are two sides of a pole, hot and cold, just know they're both temperature. And when I consider the positive and negative language and try to get out of the good and bad side of that, if I remember what it is to wire an electric socket, the negative wire is your friend. The positive wire will shock your ass, right? Like the negative wire, why is it your friend? Because it's literally grounded. It's connected to metal, earth, in the ground to connect to the water of our planet. You see what I'm saying? So I like to see that. And I'm bringing this up because electricity and energy. Now, Uranus moving into Gemini again. Uranus takes 84 years to get around. And so it doesn't get there that often. And it's kind of worrying when we look back. The last time Uranus was in Gemini was World War II. The time before that, the Civil War in this country anyway. But there have also been significant technological breakthroughs. Some of them we might look back to and wonder, like, what was part of World War II was also nuclear power, right? I mean, power expressed nuclearly in a terrible way, at least at the beginning. And we worry about the byproduct and all of that. The time before that, though, people have been burning coal and oil for centuries, really even millennia before. That's when like pipelines started and when the oil and gas like infrastructure was first built. We have these significant updates in the way that we do energy. Y'all in this room understand that there have been many energy revolutions and breakthroughs that have been significantly suppressed, hidden from us, that are probably ready to be revealed. And those who have kept them down and hidden won't really have any choice if the burning stuff infrastructure doesn't work anymore, right? So what kind of energy might it be? Right. So when I was teaching polarity some years ago, a student asked this wonderful question, which is like, well, but the signs that are opposite one another, they always have the same charge. So that doesn't make sense because we talk about relationship axes in astrology. And shouldn't those signs have opposite charges because opposites attract? And I instantly saw, oh no, opposites collapse. Right? If we didn't have the opposite signs of the two sides of the pole with the same charge, and everything would collapse in on itself. In this way, it's ever expanding. And it's the neighboring signs that have opposite charges. So all you have to do is give this wheel a nudge in one direction or the other, and it's going to spin eternally. It's the magnet motor of our existence, frankly. But there's a new energy coming through. I think many of us know that if we want to find out how to do it right, we ought to look to the really old structures in Egypt and the Mesoamerican places, right, where clearly they were in resonance, harmonic resonance with the earth itself. So instead of digging and burning our planet, maybe we can just get in tune and resonate in a similar vibration. And many of us here have been studying this physics, these technologies. And I think that this is the structure that's clearly falling apart. And it's a wonderful opportunity for the real energy to come back. And we have to realign our own energy to let the new energy happen.
Yeah, that touched on that. Cause that's this, when they talk about collapsing, the old grid, I think there's and that's why part of why I like Pluto and Aquarius, because the old grid wants to come back up. And so I think part of our humanity's role here in this emerging age, whatever it
So-
becomes,
No.
is to be stewards of this, is to care for the earth and to bring that old grid up. And the old ways of doing energy doesn't mean we gotta go back to living the way everybody else did, but I feel like that there's a new form coming in, and the technological, like even things like 0 point energy, even fusion power. When Pluto was last in Aquarius, we were, really experimenting with steam power, and it was the early signs of the Industrial Revolution. So this is also heralding in the next wave of technological revolution of, AI and other things. But energy itself is going to be a big part of how all of that thing. I love that touched upon oil and the pipelines, because we're seeing every time, almost every time there's some kind of significant war, it's like oil seems to be involved in some way. It's like, what are we doing here? No, we're not learning at all. And so this is a chance for us to come into a whole new form of energy and work with it. Pluto and Aquarius, I feel, along with Uranus and Gemini, is going to be helping us along that pathway. And so that was during the time when America was experiencing its revolution. It was also a time when, like, the sort of the signs of equal rights and the rights of human beings and the humanism movements, like there was that energy was there, and now we're coming back to it. And so the dying of the old, and Pluto is this death rebirth experience, this pyrocathartic, like, depth of who we are. Like, this is a time we're really reflecting back into the deeper parts of ourselves. What is our own personal energy too in all of this? That matters too. And I love that, because I mean, we look at all these different ancient structures all across the world. They didn't just build them for tombs or to bury people. They built them to be able to not just energetically connect, but connect the marriage of the sky and the earth together, and to have that as a working relationship, and doing ceremonies and activating these things all over the planet. And it's still there. It's still there. A lot of it's still buried. We've kind of had a golden age of uncovering all these massive temples like Göbekli Tepe and other sites. This is an exciting time, but maybe it revolutionizes us also to maybe even build other things that connect to the old grid too. Maybe new stone circles, maybe new ways of connecting the modern to the old in ways that have never been done before. And that's like this whole new territory coming through. We have cycles that are coming in. I love, because I'm sure everybody's here on the panel knows about July, and how that there are all the outer planets, including Jupiter for a short time, will be at 4, and all the air and masculine signs. And so they're all in although Jupiter and Pluto will be opposite, the rest are going to be in that mini grand trine. And so that's an interesting look. It's not about, with the exception of Pluto, it's not about so much tension there. There's something that wants to really flow together. And I think July is going to be a very, very interesting month for us all to look at. And we're talking about the collapse. I mean, yeah, we've been seeing signs of the collapse for many years. And I feel like when it comes to this particular overarching dominator patriarchal type society, that they're in they're in the decay stage.
Mhm.
And they're scared because they know that it's dying, that the old ways are dying, that, well, what they consider the old ways. And yeah, we need to let that happen, because new things are going to replace that. It isn't just going to be a void. Nature does not like voids. Things will come to the surface. Ideas will be blossomed. New heroes, new communities will be formed. That's what always happens. Even historically, where we're having these like people, international, multinational corporations that are like $1 trillion companies. Historians have been looking at this as a second Gilded Age. But what came after that was the progressive age, when workers, when individual people started getting more rights. And they started electing people that actually truly represented them for a while. And so I do, it doesn't mean we're gonna repeat that, but I do feel like something, usually when something gets that high and that powerful, it can only stay up in that space for so long before it gets broken apart. So I have a lot of hope and optimism for this, and even with we can call it a collapse. Um, we've got plenty of good people on this planet that will help us.
Did we put the chart up there for July 20th?
Okay.
Yeah, so people can just see what Eric was talking about.
Good idea.
How many people know how long Pluto cycles?
200.
Yay. Pluto cycle, 248 years. What? Talk about yourself on doing that.
Here, Celeste, go ahead.
Yeah, so the United States is in what's called a Pluto return. So every 248 years, Pluto goes around the natal chart. And it was exact a few years ago, but we're getting to the Pluto return of the Constitution.
Yeah.
2026.
So there are big things coming in how we are organized politically. If you haven't read it, there's an amazing article in Vanity Fair. You can just search Michael Luton and it's about the United States and the United States Pluto return. Michael Luton, Vanity Fair,
Yeah.
and I forget the name of the article.
It's Pluto and Capricorn, and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
it's still up on the.
yeah, it was from 2006, and he
Yeah.
talked about this whole time, and he like ended in 2025, and he was spot on about what was happening. And he talked about how the Constitution is going to be rewritten in the next couple of years. So there are really, really big things coming. And I just want to circle back to what David said about, we're in a very masculine age, and in July 26th, the nodes change into masculine signs. The north node will be in Aquarius, the south node in Leo. I'm calling that F your feelings. So I think you're spot on with the fact that we're moving from more of these feminine energies into a masculine time. And we all have feminine and masculine within us, and we can all be our own mythic heroes, because that's mythic heroes are rising again and again.
Speaking of harmony, there's an amazing thing in the rhythms of Uranus and Neptune and Pluto. Right, so these are new planets. We don't know about them in ancient times, right? Uranus was discovered quite accidentally in the late 18th century. And Pluto wasn't discovered until, well, the Great Depression in 1930. But when we track them over time, Pluto takes about 3 times longer to get around than Uranus does. Neptune's twice as long. And if you know harmonics and harmony, they make a beautiful resonance in this rhythm. I think we want to try it. So I'm going to play for you Pluto and Neptune. It's like this. I don't know if that's coming through. Now, if I could speed that up a bunch, we would hear 2 notes in harmony with one another. I think we should try it, okay?
Okay.
So I want y'all to sing this. Sing like just hold it, keep it there. And some of you come with me. Keep that going. Some of you come with me. That's how these 2 planets are working together. Can y'all do that again? Because I just want to hear it without my voice. Listen to how beautiful that is. Right? Like this is the new energy movement. And it's in a place it's subsonic, like below our capacity to hear audibly, but it is happening, right? We measure astrology not from the surface of the earth, where we live and breathe and can witness the heavenly happenings, but from the center of earth, where we are all one, right? And this is suggesting that our birth charts, for example, are our experience of Earth's experience of the heavens, right? So when the heavens align in harmony like this is vibrating at the heart of Gaia, right? And all earthlings will experience that, especially the ones like you who are open to it.
And it's happening in the helio as well, but that's the sun-based center of the chart. So we're seeing the same harmony as well in the helio astrology, which I think is important, that as above, so below, the same alignment is happening. I just wanted to touch on Pluto and Aquarius because it was also Freemasons. So there was a lot of signers on the Declaration of Independence in Pluto Capricorn. The ones that emerge that we all talk about are only the very small number of Masons. So there's something very deep about Freemasonry with Pluto and Aquarius. And they're the ones who do the debates that come up with the Constitution Convention. They do them in Greek names and they send out pamphlets. If you go back to the last time Pluto was in Aquarius prior to that, that's King Henry VIII leaving the Catholic Church and creating the Church of England with Neptune and Aries. Same degrees that we just went through in this last year. And what did you just see at the exact same time? King Charles went back to the Catholic Church with the Pope for the first time. So we're at a really weird moment because when it comes to this idea of like society, I think it's like there's nobody at the wheel. They're using AI, they're using clones, they're using all these things. These people think they're in control and we believe it. Stop believing it.
Okay.
Yeah, right on that, because we're the ones with the power, really. It's us, not the small amount of people that are having that control. Well, you know, you buy into a program, you get addicted to it, just like anything else. We're consumers, we're capitalists, and so we're connecting into that lifestyle. And then, you know, of course, back in the Roman times, you know, they wanted everybody to be distracted,
Mhm.
you know, from the rest of the empire so that they can do their conquering and all their games that they were playing. So that's the kind of thing that's in a way happening now, it's just with much more different kind of technology that's being used. And Blue Aquarius is definitely time for us to like really get into the deeper waters of who we want to become. Do we want to still be part of that programming? Do we still want to, you know, continue to rely on those kinds of habits? Because I think some of that will end up going away anyway. Um, just the way the world is developing here, that it's like some of the habits. In fact, I think the Uranus and Taurus cycle that we're just now ending was about our conveniences and all the stuff that we had to take from the earth in order for that to happen. And because conveniences make things more comfortable, they make things more secure and pleasurable. We can drive through and get anything, we can order anything and have it delivered by drones now. Everything's very, very convenient. But what cost is that? And are we accelerating the decay of our relationship with our planet? So we look at that and go, how can we change that? So Uranus moving into Gemini now is more about the curiosity and, you know, the connections and the education and looking around and connecting with people. Obviously, there's a technological aspect to that, but it's not about convenience. It's about learning and coming into a whole new kind of magic in the world. And so uh, this whole, and we're talking about Pluto. No, we've got it up on the screen there. We've got that trine. That's the mini ground trine, and then the Jupiter Pluto opposition happening, all at 4 degrees. And so you're seeing this. This is a. I went back. I didn't see anything that was anything close to this in history. So this is extremely rare. Um, you know, so it's not something that we're familiar with.
Yeah.
And even Dave, when talking about the helioastrology, you saw it there too with these harmonics. And I love Gemini and Brad talking about sort of the harmony of the planets. They have resonances with each other. They're doing a dance. In fact, there's this amazing book, if you want to check it out, called the Quadrivium. And it shows all the different planetary relationships and all of the special patterns that they weave together in the sky. And it's including with Earth at times. It's truly remarkable what's happening. So we're literally living in the music, living in the patterns. We're part of the patterns, we're also conscious expressions of those patterns of the earth, of the universe, all at once. And so this is a expression here that's, I think, meant to get our attention. The quadrivium, quadrivium.
The book is a little book of coincidences in the solar system. A little book of coincidences in the solar system by John Martineau, but it is included in a compilation of other books from the Wooden Book series in a book called Quadrivium. So that's Quadrivium. And that was the name for the ancient sacred sciences, right? So the four sciences: astronomy, number in time and space; geometry, number in space; harmony, number in time; and then number itself. Like we used to learn the trivium, right? With us, that's like language, grammar and rhetoric and dialect. And that all sounds kind of boring. It's like I say geometry, we have like flashbacks to, high school or whatever. This is so sacred geometry. That probably just did a different thing for you. And this is back when we used to teach that number had not only quantity, but also quality. So like I ask you to just imagine the world if before we told kids in school that 1 + 1 = 2, that we encourage them to contemplate oneness, right? And so when we engage with the old studies, and astrology is part of this, because astrology is the rainbow bridge between astronomy, the measurable heavens, and correspondence is the immeasurable. Yes. When we understand that everything has its measurable quantity and its immeasurable quality, including number itself, right? That's when we return to a more interesting way of life. I just want to return to what David said some time ago. It's your imagination is going to lead you through. Not all who wonder or wander are lost. So it's our time.
Time is something we need to consider. And I know we're coming down to like the last 15 minutes actually. And so let's take a look at, let's address kind of succinctly, how is this affecting people? What can people do in this time? What is the most benefit? How can they work with this practice?
I think that, and over the next week is a really beautiful opportunity as Uranus finishes a cycle that began in 2018 in the sign of Taurus, which rules our resources and our values. And really think about how they've changed over the last years, what really, truly, deeply matters to you. Because this is a time where we really need to get prepared spiritually to let for this system collapse and to let go of things that we thought we could depend on. And with courage and faith, move forward into new ways of being. Some of the ways I've prepared practically as a Taurus is I have been, bringing in non perishables and things just to prepare for disruptions for at least 2 weeks. I've been recommending to people. If you're planning any flights or going anywhere or vacations, always have flight insurance and insurance cancellations. Although, like David said, we might not be moving very far, very fast in a very soon amount of time. But most focused on connecting with the people that matter most, meeting your neighbors, having some kind of community. If you can't do it right around yourself, do it online. And yeah, just preparing spiritually and thinking about what really, really matters and connecting in with your intuition, being discerning about information because there's so much that's constantly coming at us that's not real. But our intuitive voice can guide us through.
Thank you.
I think it's important for people to ask in every situation now, is this me or is this not me? Because whether that's programmed or whether it's you're in a job, is this really me? Is this not me? Because the discomfort that comes up is what is the opportunity. Like that's this Jupiter finishing in Cancer coming into Leo is you've got to get to this place to really ask yourself, is this me? Because if this isn't you, then why are you doing it? Even though it's going to cause some problem in my life and maybe it'll be more discomfort in your mind's idea of like having to face it. But if it's the job you don't like, the relationship that's really bad for you in your life, whatever the situation is, and that's what's interesting with all this Aries in opposition to Libra, courts, fairness, relationships, it feels like sometimes it can be not as fair as usual. It can feel like, but really it's like we're gonna have to find massive forgiveness because this world, now that Neptune's out of Pisces for good, it's not gonna be very forgiving. So we need to remember forgiveness, we need to remember empathy, and communities are gonna be local and transportation that's local. Hence, during World War II, they were making tanks, which they just asked this week, GM and Ford to make tanks. So bicycles on acid. But like, I just think that if you ask the simple question with all those areas, is this me? Is this not me? And you're honest with yourself and you face the discomforts that come, that's where Jupiter he will deliver in Cancer, that place that makes you feel truly, this is me. I'm embedded. And we have to embed in who we really are in order to be the best for society and others. We can't be the false version of ourselves. And that's a very uncomfortable place. And you can't put blame on other people. You have to take accountability for your own self for everything that you've been through and own that and just make the new choice of the best version of yourself possible now.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're doing it right now. Absolutely. You could have stayed at home and beamed into this through some kind of web connection. You're all here sharing air. I don't see one mask in the audience. And I'm celebrating that. You know, we're human beings, so holding each other, feeling each other's heartbeats, being in the same room. Look, I have an online community. It's called Constellations. I love it. We teach every week. We have people from Bulgaria and England and Vietnam and Australia, everywhere, And it's yeah, everybody here does. And I wouldn't give that up for anything because it's so wonderful to be able to in any moment connect these many droplets of Indra's net, right? Which is a beautiful gift of the web. But we also have to stay human. And this is how we do that, coming together in person, right? It's really interesting. Like I did grow up in the 80s, so I've been informed by Terminator and such. So I have some worries about the AI. And I'm also trying to be open. But it's interesting that from my perspective, it kind of came first for the things that we said it could never do. It came for the arts, right? And now there's like pretty cool music that's happening. But it can't play the drums with your arms. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it can't dance with your body. And so choosing to be even more embodied, even more human, and to be embodies together, this is the way that we stay relevant and beautiful and important and connected. So as much as I'm working online, we have a monthly new moon gathering that we're doing in Berkeley right now. Actually, we have one tonight. So if anybody wants to keep it going and come down to Berkeley and connect and share intentions and really connect hearts, connect with me afterwards or at my partner's site, which is anazaharia.com. And you can learn about our Berkeley moon gatherings. I hope all of you will also create community opportunities on the bikes, on Anything you wish. And then, as Eric said, understanding consideration means with the stars. So just being out, gazing at the moon, seeing moon and Venus tonight after sunset, you all can.
I'll be DJing
know,
when that happens.
Dave will be DJing. You want to be there. Move your body. They're in Taurus, like these kinds of things. Stay human, y'all.
God. And Eric, no more than 2 more minutes left, so I want to say.
Okay, thank you. Just on what everyone else has been saying, but also adding in that it's really, as and I also shared earlier too, getting back into connection with the earth and the sky, but things like getting out into the parks and the beaches,
Yeah.
growing your own food. Like where do you the energetically, you can put your energy into it and work with that energy to bring it back into yourself, because it's all interactive. Like the food itself is generated from the sky, the earth and the sky, the sun, all that energy gets funneled down to the earth. It gets recycled and we get it, and then we recycle it back out, and then it goes through its motions year after year after year. So we're literally tuning into all of that together. So ways to navigate is to connect into with earth and the sky itself. Go out, get out on the little, like at the dance party or the new moon ceremony, gather together with communities. That's another thing that I've been noticing in all of my travels, especially along the West Coast and all these different fairs. People crave those communities. They crave kindred spirits and other souls to come together like this. This is part of how we come together as a larger group, with maybe many, many thousands of other communities within the larger framework there. And that we don't need to just rely on everyone else to tell us how to live, or what foods that, oh no, these are the foods that you have to eat, or these are the foods you have to eat. Go with what you're feeling, go with what's coming through you, and maybe even what other people might be experiencing to help you in your path as well. Because as you step under the stars, you can get the wisdom and knowledge yourself. You can find and connect with the patterns yourself as well, and maybe connect with other people that have done that. And then we've got groups together. That's one of my favorite things that I ever do as an astrologer, is going out into the night sky and being able to share the bones of the sky, as Daniel once said, but also to just be there with it. And that Mount Shasta experience a few years ago, that was absolutely surreal. It was like in another world.
Hmm.
We can do it in the summer, so.
Yeah,
I'm
we can coordinate to do another time, but that's what we need more out there,
Yeah.
not just teaching the night sky, but being participants and connecting with it. And less like less LEDs, less bright
Yeah.
LEDs, completely blotting out the sky. And I know all of these,
I know we're getting old. My eyes.
too many satellites, there's too much technology. Anyway, I'm going on a rant there, but it's trying to get organic with everything. So I appreciate this, and then thank you for this moment here. And thank you all, beautiful people, for being here today.
Well, one thing I would like to add to that is that what each one of us can do individually, as things speed up, and they're going to continue to speed up, the information overload that happens, we all experience it. How many of you meditate? If you don't meditate, find something that you can do to go inside, whatever it is.
Spy bombs.
Helps you connect the spirit, helps you connect with the planets, go out under the moon, really feel the planets, but learn to meditate. I've been meditating most of my adult life, and it's a life-changing experience. No matter what's going on out here, you really can be like the lotus and go inside and be of the world, but not immersed in the muck of it. So, only have a few minutes left. But what I would like to do at this point is go through and just one key takeaway. I'm going to start with you, Eric.
Key takeaway
One or two sentences, your key takeaway of this time.
of this time.
Yeah.
I think I'm just repeating what I shared earlier, but really connect with the sky and the earth, breathe, feel, tune into all of your senses, the physical senses and the senses outside of those, and tune into all of that so that you can get the wisdom and the knowledge yourself in this time frame and beyond.
Thank you.
I would say this is a time where courage is needed. Despite any fears we have, fortune favors the bold. How can you build community and be generous in your time and your spirit? And we're going to be needing to share resources together. And there's exciting things coming. So keep hope and optimism alive. Walk by faith and not by sight.
Said verify when the aliens come out yourself for sure.
Nice.
And illuminate the collective consciousness.
Yeah. That's right.
Free your energy so free energy can arrive. We are constellations because each and every one of us is a star. We want a world of equality. Don't be small so we can pretend that's happening. Be as big as you can be. Shine your light, radiate to remind all the others that they can be big, they can be themselves too. That's what we're here for.
Oh, that's what it was. I was gonna say 2012 really happened, and we're gonna start feeling it more now.
So, so tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, room 2, I'm gonna be doing a wisdom of the stars lecture. It's 45 minutes, basic, very basic languaging, because I feel like it's so important for people to start to understand the things that we're talking about, and you have your own experience with it. So I make it as basic as possible. So if you're interested and you want to kind of get it from that point of view, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, room 2 over at the Embassy Suites. So it's across the way. There's a lot of wonderful speakers, and then David is speaking there tomorrow also.
Route 5.
Speaking here. Are you speaking there or here?
No, Route 5.
Okay, so he's speaking there also tomorrow. What time? 3.
2 or
45.
Yeah.
Your program guide is your Bible. Okay, and what is your booth number?
It's table 11.
Table 11 in the exhibit. You can go and find
I
out.
thought this was a
right
Indian company.
Oh,
free.
master number.
Each one of these astrologers are online. Bay Area, Gemini Red and Celeste Brooke, right here in the Bay Area. David, very excited to have David up here from LA.
No, OC. OC. OC.
Is that
OC.
Orange County.
OC.
I understand. Yeah. But he's doing exactly.
I mean, I did live in.
Yes.
but I'm always
He's
like-
the only one who get me up at the end of a long day at Expo.
Shima gets down, by the way.
And then Eric,
Right.
Eric is
Nice.
up in Oregon, so he's kind of like my neighbor up there. That's why we talked about doing things on Mount Shasta, night sky. So get on our mailing list, and I post on Facebook, your astrology curator, taking the best of people that I love to give it out to you, because I just love astrology, and I've been involved with it for actually longer than anybody here. So, there you go. What can I say? Anyway, fabulous. Thank you so much. Thank you. We are living cycles. This is about us. It's not out there. It's in here. You chose to coming at this time. So find out, explore, ask questions. And thank you. And thank you to Neil for the sections. So for hosting us. And it's delightful arena. How wonderful. And happy birthday to Elizabeth.
Let's take a
Birthday.
photo together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, how was that?
Great, thank you so much.
Take a photo. Oh, yes. photo. Oh, up here. All right. I'm taking a photo.
Bye. Peace out. Oh yeah, bye bye.